into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Micheal Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. It is always my honor and privilege to be with you here every Friday morning. It's a sunny day in the Bay Area, and I'm looking forward to a long weekend. I hope you are too, and that you have some holiday, because a Monday is a holiday, and that you have some wonderful things planned. At Life is a Sacred Journey, we are so honored to have so many people around us that give us, just great thoughts, help to share ideas, and one of those people that continuously actually was a part of the seeding of Life is a Sacred Journey and a part of the seeding of Micheal Pope in her career here at Alzheimer's Services. And if you follow me on Facebook, you know that as of Monday morning, I have been grieving the loss of a very, very good friend, colleague, mentor, advocate. And if you see on Facebook, we're up to 100 and something folks who just in the little small circle that he and I were in together that know of him as an ombudsman, California culture change. Before all of these folks were involved in it, Lance Reynolds was. And so I'm lighting the candle this morning, not only for what's happening in Turkey and Syria and all over the world. We can't forget what's happening still in the Ukraine and then the violence, another mass shooting. We just have to really light a candle and hope that it's not just a thing that we do because that's what we do. That we make the change in this world. And so, Lance Reynolds, I want to thank you for having faith in me, for not judging me because I was a woman or a Black person. He went to Oxford. This man was brilliant, but he was my friend. And more importantly, he helped me to really see beyond my imagination when it came to things here at ASAB. So Lance, rest in peace. And we thank you here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, all of the caregivers that were here when you were our board president, and all of the caregivers and participants that have benefited from your advocacy since you were here. I will go in detail some other time, but today we're going to be talking about love. And so I thought, what better way than to start with just saying, thank you, Lance. Thank you, Lance. And Maria, we're here with you and walking with you here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay as you continue to celebrate the life of your husband. So thank you. So I know you noticed my little duckies here. They were given to me as a gift, and I think they're pretty magnificent. So I decided to keep them here at the office. And then I decided to leave this card here that says, I love that I get to love you. And that was given to me by my daughters, but I wanted that sentiment to share that sentiment with you. I love that I get to love you through my work here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, through being on this platform, Life is a Sacred Journey. Thank you, Felicia. And to just really reach out to all of you out there to know that this journey is hard. Yes, it is. But we were never promised a rose garden. Remember that song? We were promised, though, that if we love each other and pull together, that we can move forward and change the world. So our topic this morning, because Valentine's Day just passed us, and I was so happy Meg Logan had put on her Facebook, you don't have to be married, you don't have to have a significant other. You are your significant other. I as I get older, I guess I would like to, yes, I do. I want companionship in my life, but I also know that loving myself is one of the most important gifts that in this season of my life that I have given myself in the previous seasons and then grown into in this season. So we start with self-love. Self-love does not mean that you're egotistical. There are some people, again, with anything, you can take something a little bit too far. So if you love yourself so much that you can't see the light and love in others, then that's kind of egotistical love, and that's not the kind of love we're going to be talking about today. So welcome and good morning. I am your host, Micheal Pope, and you have landed in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey, and we are honored to be your host for the next 28 minutes or so to really talk about love and what love is. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Mwah. Sending out a big kiss to you and a big hug to you. If you are coming back, we're always welcome to open our virtual doors and have you join us in this virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. We are a community that believes that life is sacred. We are a community that believes in love, and we are a community that believes in connection. So thanking you so much for joining us, and thanking my wonderful producer, partner in crime, as I will say here on Life is a Sacred Journey, and that is Felicia. Felicia, thank you for walking with me, having faith in me, and just pushing me and poking me to be the best that I can be. And again, we're so thankful that we have a new family member there, and that, the future leader of Canada, or whatever country he wants to be. So I want to talk about love and caregiving to start this conversation today. Love and caregiving, it's an interesting thing. In my time here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, I've seen profound love. I've also seen where people did not have great relationships prior to the caregiving relationship, but yet there was something in that individual that said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to care for this loved one, even though they may not have been the great parent. They may not have been a great husband. They may not have been a great wife. They may not have been a great partner, but I feel a sense of obligation. In some instances, it was obligation. And in others, they just felt a great sense of, I'm the only one. Or I really still love this person, but I couldn't be married to them. But I want to support them in their time of need. So love and caregiving have an interesting combination, but it's a magic combination, as was written by Kathy Koll, Koll, from a caregiving site that I found. And she talks about it in this way, that it is a magic combination, that you grow into your own empathy, you grow into your own forgiveness, you grow into all these areas of personal value, that when you are a caregiver to someone who really 100% depends upon you and depends upon you showing up and being your best self. And it says here, often calls us to learn into love we didn't have before. So we have to learn and move into the love that we may not have had for that individual before. And when we open up our hearts, we become just like little, magnets to love. We become magnets to forgiving. I equate that to caring for, even a pet that is sick and dying, and you care for that pet and you love that pet. And I know I've been seeing on Facebook, many of us are experiencing the loss of our pet, and the profound love that is being shared by that. And I don't want to say pet owner, but that person that had this wonderful soul in their lives. So love is something that creates a lot of emotions, particularly around the time that person is no longer with us, because again, like I've been going through with Lance all week, measuring, was I a good friend? Was I there for him? even when he was no longer on the board? Or was I a better friend when he was doing something for me versus when he couldn't do anything other than just be my friend? And I'm happy to say, after much evaluation, I think I did okay. But again, that's what happens. You start evaluating the layers of the relationship. Someone who does so much for you, but yet is thank you enough? Is thank you enough when somebody loves you so profoundly that you feel and you are impacted by their lives? Is thank you enough? Sorry, I apologize. I'm still dealing with this cough and from having COVID a long time ago. But are we able to then love ourselves as we want to be loved or want to give love to others? And so love and caregiving is a magic combination, as Kathy Cole says. It is a magic combination because it brings out the perseverance, and it brings out the best in the individual that is doing or performing the caregiving, but it also is a connection. Here at ASAB, there are a lot of people that are pretty nonverbal, or they speak with word salad, or they speak with their eyes, or however they use their senses to give you messaging. Well, yesterday, as I was walking out with one of the ladies downstairs, on Valentine's Day, I wore a sweater that had a whole bunch of hearts on it. I think you've seen it on Life is a Sacred Journey. And then it has little balls. It's got all of these embellishments. It's like from Farm Rio. Shout out to Farm Rio, one of my favorite vendors. And she remembered the sweater from Valentine's Day. And, for some of you, you may say, well, that's not a big deal. It was only a couple of days prior. But for somebody with dementia, it's a big deal. And she remembered it. And then she said to me, I would go shopping with you any day. And she said, I just love the way you dress and I love you. Wow. A pure connection between two people. I put my arm into her arm and walked her to the van, helped her to get on the van. And we talked about how cold it was outside. I told her I loved her and to have a good evening and that I would see her today. So that little second, that little moment, I think if I had a little time watch thing, stopwatch, it probably wouldn't have been that long. But that little moment of intimacy and connection between two individuals was so important to me. And I could tell it was important to her that the time was being taken. Thank you for whoever sent that message on Life is on the Facebook. I'm going to turn it down so that it doesn't disturb. But yes, it is so important to have those moments and to live into those moments and take time for those moments. So I want to take a moment right now to thank you all again. And to thank Nancy, who sent me the most beautiful card, and to Sister T and Sandy and Stuart and Jane and all of you in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. You are my Valentines. So thank you, Robert. Thank you for loving me. All of you out there who support Micheal Pope, meaning you support my craziness and you walk with me. That's love. My children who know me better, they do. They know me better than anyone else, and they still hold me dear and love me through my craziness. I'm a loony goo-goo. And I don't mean it in a negative way against mental illness or anything. I'm not talking about that, but I am who I am. And I have my ways and I have my thoughts and I have all this stuff. But instead of being in judgment, number one thing about love, you can't be in a state of judgment. I was in a meeting the other day and I said something and I could tell the other person thought that I was talking about them when I was talking about a topic, saying, we ensure that we do these certain things because I have found that this happens when you don't do it. But the other person, because they were in relationship with me around that particular topic, they automatically assumed I was talking to them. I could tell because I could physically see them react to this viscerally. And it was like, oh my gosh. So we got to stop taking things personal, folks, because unless somebody says to you, it's you, then stop taking in that negative energy that you think somebody's talking about you. You think you know that they're talking about you. You think. You have to know before you mess up that love vibe, because that love vibe is hard to hold on to. And if you just keep bringing in negative energy, and then you take it and you just build upon it like Jenga and create your own negative tower, then everything you hear will be heard through a negative ear, and you cannot ever hear that the love that's coming through. You'll become one of those naysayer people when you say, yeah, this person loves, they're a really good caregiver, but you'll say, but they, or did you, you always have a little hook to it. So love is one of those things that you have to really be able to embrace and hold on to, not only in the giving, but in the hearing of stuff, in the understanding of a relationship with another person. And it is just one of those things that grows the more you give. So for many family caregivers, love may be the solid underpinning that sustains them. We know that love may flow back and forth between the one receiving care and the caregiver in a way that deepens their bond. Years of caregiving, while tiring and may create division and separation, also can be time of appreciation and gratitude for what's happening in that relationship. I've heard people say profound things like, you know, I grew so much when I was caregiving. My heart opened up when I was caregiving. And then that connection that you have with that individual actually sustains you during the time either they pass away before you, or when they no longer recognize you. In the case of dementia, Alzheimer's, it'll get you through. And people who are caregivers of those that have dementia, they've lost their loved one. That was what Maria said to me. I've been saying goodbye to him for 6 years, as have I. Not in the same way. She is his wife, but as his colleague and a really good friend. I mean, I am a really good friend to him and to her. And I have been saying goodbye. When I saw him in August of last year, when he was in the Bay Area, I realized that might be the last time that I would see him. Didn't want it to happen, didn't pray for it to happen, but I realized, because I've been in the dementia field now for over 26 years, and I know what I know. And I looked at him and I knew some things. But again, in that moment, we were connecting, we were feeling each other, not feeling like that, but feeling each other in a spiritual way and connecting. And I will carry that with me, even through the grief that I have had this week. So unfortunately, sometimes the opposite can occur for people, because their relationship, again, as I said when we opened the show, that some people's relationships weren't good from the beginning, but now they're the only person that can assist this person through their life journey. And so what about that caregiver? What do they have to do? What do they feel they're obligated to do? And how do they continue to love themselves while loving their loved one? Many folks then say, oh, I became like our reluctant caregiver that we had on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Again, it's not something you go, oh, yes, I want to get to a certain phase in my life and I want to become a caregiver. No. We all know that we would love to not to have to be caring for someone we love in that way, because we know it may be end of life issues, meaning a person has lived a very long time and now they're at the final stages of life, of this life. or there's an illness involved in that. But then let's take it back and take it out of sort of that doom and gloom space. Parenting is caregiving. When you're caring for your children as they're growing into their adulthood, that's caregiving. And when you're caring in your garden for your soil and your plants, that's caregiving. What if we thought, and I think I've said that one time, what if we thought of everything as caregiving? I think I have said that before, because it's my pondering. Where we knew we had to walk into the situation with care and then to give care. So I'm taking the word and slicing it up and giving it more meaning than just the meaning that we've given it, where it's only an individual caring for somebody that is sick or in hospice or that place. What about the caregiving where you're going out into the humanity and you're being your best because I care about the stranger in the grocery store, and so I want to give my best self, and even though the person behind the counter may have made a mistake, I'm not going to create that negative vibration around myself, so therefore I ruin everybody else's day around me. So can you tell I had an experience this week? I had an experience this week. I was at a Dunkin' Donuts, and when you do DoorDash or anything like that, they're supposed to put tags over the item so that it's to prevent anybody from doing anything. And it's quality assurance. We get it. But when the person came back to say you didn't do this, they did it in such a way. And again, I understand their angst. They had to come back. It delays them. People are working hard to make money when they're doing DoorDash. They're running around. That's why they call it DoorDash. But at the end of the day, you can tell the stress level is so high in the world today. That individual could not say and was not kind. Didn't say, oh, look at here, you forgot to put the stuff on, you know I can't take it without it, but you had already taken it out the door. But that's a whole nother life is a sacred journey. But again, talking with kindness, there was no kindness exchange, and it was done in a way to embarrass the other individual. So caregiving, giving love, giving patience, giving empathy, walking a minute in a person's shoes, even in your most stressful moment, is love. Love for yourself, love for the humanity. It's love. It's not just waiting for that moment where you have to decide one way or the other. Oh, I'm going to tie this person's shoe. I'm going to do this or do that. I'm going to care for them. Love and caring in the world means being your best self when you go out in the world and not snatching people with your verbal language and the way that you look at them. And I felt so bad. I wanted to say something, but I thought, oh my goodness, if I say something, that's how much anger the person had that was coming out, this resonating off of them like a space heater. Okay. And I thought, no, if you say something, that person might throw that coffee right at you. So you better keep your mouth shut. But I did start to meditate and pray for that individual and pray for the person that was being demeaned, who I could see physically was getting smaller and smaller with every word that was hitting them. So again, love is not just the romantic love that, not just the lust love, not just the love that we feel in our DNA and in our bodies when we see somebody that we love. Love is how we show up in the world and how we treat people that we do not know. And caregiving is just one piece of that kind of love. So we have to consider looking inward, particularly if we're caregiving, when something has happened. Francis Kakagawa, I think I even talked about that before, maybe even just last week. I have no idea. I think I did. I don't know who I told it to. So I apologize if I said it to you, but it's a great reminder. Frances Kakagawa is an incredible human being who I love dearly. We're going to have her back on Life is a Sacred Journey, poet, writer, and took care or was a caregiver for her mom, who had Alzheimer's. And when one morning, again, in the wee hours of the morning, she woke up and found feces all over the wall in the bathroom and her mom covered in it. And, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, she was just like, oy vey. And but she cleaned her mom up, did it with joy and love and gratitude for the ability just to be caring for her mom and having her mom still with her. Yes, it took her breath away. And then she did this. She went back after mom was settled, warm and cozy, back in bed, cleaned up, loved up. She went and got a red boa and she put that red boa around her neck and she turned on some music and she cleaned the bathroom. I thought that was a wonderful demonstration of how to turn lemons into lemonade, basically, but to also say, okay, this is happening to me. I'm going to look inward and figure out what I'm going to do with this situation. Am I going to be defeated by it? Am I going to be angered by it? Am I going to have it change the trajectory of how I feel about this person in the other room that I love with all my heart and mind and soul? Or am I going to turn it into a magical mystery carpet ride? And that's what she did. So a part of our life journey when we're talking about love is understanding that we have to be great gatekeepers of love. We have to hold on to it. We gotta fight for it. And we have to make it something that just lifts up not only ourselves, but those around us. So we have to go inward when we're having those feelings of distrust and anger and despair around those that we love, or that feeling of love. I love number 2 is to consider self-talk. I'm always talking to myself, always saying, cut it out, Popa. Don't think that way, Popa. All that, whatever it is, I'm always talking to myself because, I have to, because I live in my head, but I also live in my heart. And so living in my heart, living in my head, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's like a manic sort of, oh, wow, I just said that, didn't I? So a manic sort of thinking, but it helps me to be centered when I talk to myself, and I talk myself out of trees and out of ceilings all the time, particularly when I'm talking about or being involved in social justice advocacy. I just am I can't take it anymore about the isms and all of the social justice issues. And so I just really am this is it. I'm in the winter season of my life. Then this is it. So I'm going to advocate for social justice until the day I die, and trying to make it right for other people. I don't think that I alone can do this, but if I can motivate others to think that it is everybody's right to live in a social justice construct, then at the end of the day, then I have loved the world the way that I want it to. You see that? You see how that feels? That's amazing. It's like, I know my purpose. I know exactly what I want to do because I love myself enough, and I'm going to give myself whatever I need to vision that, to see that. I may fall short because I may not have enough lifetime to do it all in, but it doesn't matter because I'm not even thinking about that because I'm going to live to be 140. Oh my gosh. Practice forgiveness, people. Practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is the portal to love, because sometimes people don't even know they hurt you. And if you practice forgiveness, then you don't have to worry about whether or not there's anger between you, or whether or not you have to stop talking to them, or whether or not they haven't done something that you've wanted. I'm going to tell you a little story about love. This past weekend, I had the honor of, I have a cousin that turned 80 years old. and his family, or our family, because it's not just his family. Our family came from back east and from up from the LA area, and us from the Bay Area to visit where he lives. And many generations of family, cousins, okay? We're all cousins. And what I loved about it is that every generation was learning the history of the previous generation, and we were together in love. We don't spend a lot of physical time with each other. We do use Zoom to stay connected, and Facebook and direct messenger and all of that to stay connected in each other's lives and stories. But you would have thought that we had just seen each other like the previous weekend. Laughter, 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 laughter galore. Laughter galore. Hugs galore. I love you, cuz. Just filling up the space for the entire weekend. So love is not just somebody giving you all their time and all their energy and everything. It's a combination of throwing it in like soup, or like we had gumbo. It's like gumbo, man. You put in everything in there, and the roux and the and the crab meat and the bump and the sausage and the chicken and shrimp or whatever you yum, yum, yum. Right? So when you add all of those things, all of that stuff that brings up love inside of you, it's amazing. Some of you know, and now I can say it publicly, I'm going to be a grandmother, and I'm excited about becoming a grandmother. And I got to see this incredible life that is incubating at the moment inside of my beautiful daughter in love. And it brought tears to my eyes because I realized how miraculous and wonderful that is. And I am so madly in love, I can hardly contain myself. I don't know what to do, and July can't come quick enough. That's love. I haven't even met this little person yet, but I don't have to meet her to know that I love her and I would lay down my life for her. 1, she's my granddaughter. 2, she is the daughter of my son. 3, she is the legacy and she is the future of our family, not a heavy burden. I'm not putting that burden on her for those people that will sit there and write and say, don't put all that on the baby. No. In our family, we tell the stories of every generation that we know of, because there are generations that are lost that we cannot tell the story of. And we tell that story deliberately so that every child that is born within the Pope family understands the magnificent DNA that they are made of. That's love. That's love. And that's why there's a shine in the young people. I was so happy to lay back. I'm one of the seniors now, people. I'm one of the seniors of the family. And I look at those young people in my family, my cousins, and they're beautiful. And they're doing magnificent and incredible things, and they're willing to venture out. Why? Because they know they have a cocoon of love around them, and that if they started to wander off into the stratosphere, we wouldn't let them go too far. That's love. That's love. So love is healthy for us before we run out of time. How is it healthy for us? Love helps us with our stress control. When we are in love with somebody, or loving our hobbies or sports, or living a life of love and forgiveness, we are healthier. Hands down. No, there's no debate. We are healthier. Happy people, people who are in love with life, and love with themselves, and love with others, and love with the world, and love with change, and love with the universe. Those are the happy people. It doesn't mean that unhappiness doesn't happen in their lives. On the contrary, it does, just like everybody else. But they choose to manifest it, for a lack of a better word, to turn it into fuel to be the best that they can be. That's love of self. But then we also know that because we practice Valentine's Day, and it's again one of the most what do you call it? Capitalistic. There we go. Holidays that we have. There's more money spent on cards and flowers and things and da. And there's a local hip hop artist here in the Bay Area, Mystique, and Mystique has challenged us to share Valentine's Day every day for the rest of the month. And I think that's a grand idea. And then Mystique, I want to take it to the next level and say, share that Valentine's love every day. You don't have to go and buy me a card every day, but you sure can send me a text and say, I was just thinking about you and I love you. You know how that would lift somebody up? When you tell people that you love them, it really is an incredible thing. So just share that idea with more than one person. Just tell people that you love them, And I've actually think love is more important than liking. That's me. Because I have had to rise above liking people to loving people, because loving puts me in a space of forgiveness. Liking means, when I don't like you anymore, does that mean that you're no longer in my life and I kick you to the curb? So I'm pondering that. I have a whole journal that I'm pondering that in. So what do you think? I'm going to ask you, what's the difference between liking and loving? That's your pondering for the weekend. Do you have to like in order to love? Do you have to love in order to like? Do the two have to come together as a sandwich? I don't know the answer to that. Because there are people that personally don't have a like for because of the stance that they take as a gender or race. They're racist individuals. But I love them. I love them because they're on this planet and living in this time with me and the rest of us. So I love them as a human being. So I don't know. That's a good one. So we'll have to share that pondering. So put that in the chat, share with each other. Do you have to like in order to love, or do you have to love in order to like? I don't know. And maybe that's something that we can have one of you come on Life is a Sacred Journey and share that with us. So we have love for our parents, for our children. We have love for nature. We have love for all kinds of things that go on around us. We have the type of love that is erotic love and passionate love. That's the stuff that they throw at us the most. And that's why we get a love confused. And we think that's the only form of love that needs to exist, that it must be so passionate and on fire and erotic all the time. And when you talk to people who have been married or been couples for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, they'll tell you it was not easy. And now that they're living in the winter season of their life, what they love so much, that now the erotic, passionate part is okay, but it's more important now to have that companionship and that type of love, what they call the philia love, which is the love of friends and your equals and your just I love you. I can hold your hand and not, be like we were in our 20s or in our teenage years, Fun, but as you get older, it does change. We have the agape love, which is the love of mankind, where what I was just talking about earlier, that's agape, where I don't have to like, and I'm not going to say any names or any people or anything, but I don't have to like the behavior of that individual to love them. It just doesn't, the two things don't, in my mind, and again, on Life is a Sacred Journey, these are my opinions. I'm not asking you to embrace them, to love them, or anything. I hope that they resonate and give you food for thought and you start to think about things in a different way. But, you don't have to come at me saying, negative things, thinking that I'm telling you to be me, because one, you can't. You would have had to have my mom and dad, and you would have had to been born at the same time I was and had some of the same experience. Your story is different. Eat the meat, throw away the bones, and just, be love, be light, and share that with me. But negativity is something that I put on my Wonder Woman shield and go poing, 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 and just like, get away, get away. So agape love is love for mankind. You usually hear about agape when you're in Christian or faith-based communities, but it's starting to leak out because as we become working in what I call the market square, in the town square, community, neighborhood, we now understand that we have to have a love of mankind when we're making policies, not all of us, a love of mankind when we're putting together nonprofits to help the community, a love of mankind when churches are opening their doors and not just about money or not just about taking a survey so you can get statistics to bring more money in, but yet that money doesn't trickle down to the town square. So all of that is agape when you love mankind. Mother Teresa showed agape, that she gave up a life of capitalism and all that. Not that she was poor at all, but she gave that up to serve. So that's agape love. And so we have all kinds of love, and love is a many splendid thing. There are many songs that were made about love. Huey Lewis had The Power of Love. Celine Dion had The Power of Love. And there's countless other songs that talk about love and how love conquers all. And there's a movie, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, where love, the power of love was discussed. Love is the thing that connects us. Love is the thing that from generation to generation that creates humanity and makes it possible for human beings to even exist on this planet. It's individuals falling in love with each other and then creating more individuals. But something is wrong with our love quotient. Our love light is dim. And it's time for us to be like E.T. and let our love light shine in a way that it can be felt and that it rises above our differences, that it rises above disease, that it rises above all those things that put division from us seeing each other and loving each other. Pardon me. So we've dedicated This Life is a Sacred Journey to Lance Reynolds and love. So thank you, Lance, for loving ASAB with your time, with your beautiful talent and spirit, with your money, with everything that you had. And thank you for loving Alameda County enough that you when you retired, you went all in to make sure that this county was an age-friendly county and that culture change was a part of of our language, and that ageism would be fought, not just today, but always, in every day, in every second. So here at Life is a Sacred Journey, we believe in love. We believe that love is the connector to us all. And because of that, we want to say to any of you out there that are thinking that suicide is the way to go because you feel unloved and unseen, we're saying to you to call 988, text 988, 1-800-273-8255. I was told that still works, but 988, you don't have to remember all those numbers. And somebody will be on the other line to serve you, to help you, to love you. And so have a great day out there in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. Enjoy your weekend. Pet a cat, pet a dog, hug a tree, and we'll see you next Friday. Peace.